Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. People who whinge over people parking in front of their houses need to learn to keep their opinions to themselves, or perhaps some other way to put things into perspective. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Last chance indeed, just not the way he imagined. I've been taking my kid to this park in downtown, my town, for years. We always go in the late afternoon, which means two things. Everything's hot still, and only some parking spots will have shade. I should also mention my AC is broken, and I often bring our dog. So obviously I'm going to park in a shaded spot if at all possible. And this is a busy park around this time, so I may end up passing over several sunny spots in favor of one in the shade. Funny thing is, all the shaded spots are often full because, gasp, other folks like parking in the shade too. Thankfully, no matter how busy it is, there's always usually on-curb spot that's close and partially shaded, so I often park there. It's a fully marked spot on the public roadway, but it is in front of a house that faces the park. Well, a couple weeks ago, I start finding notes on my window claiming the spot is private for that house and people can't park there. I knew the spot was public, but emailed the city anyway to verify, and they confirmed it was public right-of-way and public parking, not reserved for the residents, etc., fully covering all my bases. So I kept going to the park as per usual, getting a new note every time I parked in that spot. Finally, I got one that read, "Last chance." He'd also reparked his car as close to mine as possible in front, to make it harder to leave, I guess. But in the process, also blocked the sidewalk. So I took a picture of the letter and of his car parked on the sidewalk, then left. When I got home, I compiled two emails, one to the city's Public Works and the other to the city's PD. In the first, I detailed how the resident was blocking the sidewalk and not letting people park in the public spots. In the second email, I explained how the resident was harassing people and touching cars. Finally, I looked up the property in the city's GIS map. I had a hunch, based on the out-of-state plates, that they were renters, and sure enough, I was able to find the actual owners of the property and fired off some messages on social media to them as well. Today, I received a follow-up email from City Works that they're issuing a $30 ticket to the resident for blocking the sidewalk. The police are going to deliver it and also educate said resident on public parking. Welcome to the neighborhood, a-hole. And our second story. Musicians wake up at 9? This morning, I had a customer freak out on me over something that patently isn't true, as well as something I couldn't control. So I'm one of a few sales managers at a music store chain. Day to day, the most difficult things we have to deal with are the many heaps of paperwork and maybe a customer that needs a little extra TLC. Nothing we can't handle. But every so often, as I'm sure you all know, in walks one of the unreasonable ones. The ones that have an idea so unbelievably cemented in their head, no verbal jackhammer can ever liberate it. If I had to break down our clientele, I'd say they're 75% reasonable everyday people who simply want to buy equipment and get out of there, 20% of people that come in and just want to try stuff out, they too are reasonable, 4% of people who feel slighted and demand free stuff, and that last 1% are the aforementioned, typically beyond crazy, unreasonable ones. So back to this story's muse. There's been this guy coming in every single day for the past week buying sheet music. He's been the first customer at the doors before opening. He always says hello, always buys something, always smiles, never an incident. He definitely had a bit of nervous energy about him, but it didn't affect the day-to-day, so who cares? Today was different. Today he came in right at opening, and this was our conversation. Me, "Hey man, morning." Guy, "Are you a manager?" Me, "Yeah, what's up?" Guy, "You need to start opening at 9. You open at 12, but you need to start serving musicians at 9 because that's when musicians get up." Me, "Well, musicians get up at all hours. I, for one, am a musician, and I got up at 10:30 today." Then he suddenly started to raise his voice. Guy, "No, your front door says serving musicians since 1924. Musicians get up at 9 a.m., so you need to start serving us at 9 a.m. Me, "Listen, man, it's fine if you get up at 9. What I suggest is when you get up, maybe have some breakfast and then come here at opening." Guy, you're not listening to me. 9 a.m., not 12 p.m. You open at 9 a.m. Me, sir, I have absolutely no control over what time we open. That's a corporate decision, and the decision they made is 12 p.m. By now, he's fully yelling at me. Guy, no, you're being effing stupid. You start opening at 9 a.m. because that's when musicians wake up and want to be served. I am so fully taken aback because his voice has never been above a 2 with his passing hellos. At this point, 3 of my coworkers come to see what's going on and immediately assess the situation. They fully get into defensive mode and tell him to get the F out, right now. He starts yelling louder. Guy, I'm going to call the cops. Me, wait, actually, please do that. Then he said something that caught me so off guard. Guy, F you, I'm the master retailer. F all of you, I'm the master retailer. The master retailer. Maybe we made a mistake of kicking out the master retailer as he's apparently the master of retail. Nah, I think we made the right choice. Finally, we get him outside and he truly tries to fist fight our guitar tech. Eventually, he F's off and we're all like, what just happened? LOL. It all blows over. Literally, no one cares after he's gone and the store opens as normal. 15 minutes later, the store gets a phone call. I pick up because it's almost always a customer because we're a store and customers like to call stores. Me, hello, this is store. How can I help you? Cop, hey there, my name's Cop. Did you get involved in a fight with a guy in a pink hoodie? Me, oh, yeah, there was an incident a few minutes ago, but everything's fine. Cop, well, I need to get your side of the story. I told him everything I told you guys here. He laughed at the, if you wake up at 9, maybe you should get breakfast thing. Then he asked if it was cool if he could come back in or if you wanted him to keep away from the store. I didn't want any more incidents, so I tell him to stay away from the store. And our last story. Karen demands I move 2 cars impounded by the police. This story's from roughly 2013. I was an adjuster for Lizard Insurance and would go to many tow lots after car accidents and decide if a car was a total loss or send it to a body shop, as well as do the initial write-up of an estimate on repair costs. The tow lot I was at this day also worked with the state police and housed their overflow storage for anything deemed evidence and on hold from release. These vehicles were kept behind a locked gate inside the already fenced, gated tow yard. I was there to do an appraisal on 2 vehicles that had been involved in a minor accident. However, both were left unable to drive from the scene due to either multiple flats, lights knocked out, or windows busted. I've finished the first vehicle and I've started taking photos of the second vehicle. I have headphones on and I'm listening to the album Cavalcade by the Flatliners. Seriously, check them out. Anywho, I see a woman I guess around 50 walk up to the police evidence lot and the gates swing open out of the corner of my eye, not paying much attention as the vehicles I was working with were on the same side of the lot, but about 50 meters down from the evidence lot. As my back's turned to this woman I'll hereon refer to as Karen, I take the last couple of photos I need, the last being a photograph of the VIN of the vehicle, which is located where the windshield meets the hood, almost on the dash through the windscreen. Hope this makes sense. Karen, out of literally nowhere, grabs both cables to my headphones from behind and rips them out of my ears. Karen, excuse me, why are there 2 cars in front of mine so I cannot get out? This lot would stack cars in 4 or 5 deep, side by side, then move them around with a small truck to release them. Me, please don't touch me. And I don't think you should be in there. And I don't Karen, you shouldn't be listening to music on the job anyway, or slacking off taking pictures of other people's belongings. You're probably back here stealing. I attempt to point at the Lizard Insurance logo on my blue jacket, but Karen continues on. Karen, are you going to do your job or do I need to call the police because you're refusing to give me my property? Me, have you went into the office of ABC Towing? Karen, no, I saw you here and you need to move these cars so I can get mine and leave. As Karen opens the door and gets into the first car and the one's blocking her, me, hey, no, you can't go in there. That's police evidence. I use my cell phone to call ABC Towing and inform them, Karen, if you won't move these cars, then I will. Where are the effing keys? Me, in the office with the employees. At this time, the manager comes running out with one of those weird smartphone / Nextel style phones in his hand. Mark, ABC manager. Hey lady, get the hell out of there. Those cars are property of the state police. Mark frantically uses his Nextel to talk to someone. Mark sees the chain used to keep the lot closed has been cut with bolt cutters, y'all. Karen was carrying a pair of bolt cutters and had thrown them into her car when she was back at it. Mark and Karen argue back and forth. I intently listen and half pay attention as I finish my duties for work. About 8 to 10 minutes pass and 7 police cars come flying back into the lot. Mark greets the police and explains what's going on, but not after Karen attempts to scream at the police that I had stolen her car. Police tell Karen to stand over in a direction he points, sending one officer to wait with her. Turns out the lieutenant was on scene who was in charge of the county's police tow licenses. After getting Mark's story, Lieutenant comes to me and takes mine. While I'm informing him of what happens, Karen overhears and starts yelling and attempting to approach me. The officer standing with her grabbed her by the arm. Karen yanked that arm out of the female officer's hand and shoved her, surprisingly knocking the officer down. Karen is screaming incoherently as she charges toward me. The lieutenant steps in front of me and with his taser hits Karen with the most beautiful sound in the world. Karen goes limp and face plants in the dirt/light gravel of the lot and skids slightly. They immediately handcuff her. Turns out Karen had walked onto the lot carrying the bolt cutters while I was in the office talking with staff about the 2 cars I needed to adjust. She'd been roaming the lot until she saw me and I happened to be near her car. Karen was charged with burglary, 2 counts of tampering with evidence, assault on a police officer, assault on me, trespassing, and resisting arrest. I know Karen did jail time, but I'm not sure how much. Years later, the tow company I now own impounded her car for being double parked. She remembered who I was and quietly paid. Breaking in with bolt cutters, attacking police officers? I never understood how Karens could think it's a good idea to pull this level of stupid crap. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.